Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Nolan.
And I'm Chris Clements. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. Serena,
does she, what she
won.
She's won.
She had a huge win yesterday. Today is the 1st of September. Welcome to September. It's 107 degrees
190
outside.
today.
Jeez. So tired of it.
We're here doing our rant about whatever we feel like talking about.
Well, obviously, unfortunately, what's all over political news is Mar-a-Lago and the
Donald
raid.
Trump.
Look, I don't know what he was thinking. Whatever he was doing was stupid.
Yeah.
He should never had those kinds of documents. I know there's a lot of people who are defending him, but it's indefensible. It's because it's just a pride move, really. I mean, it's like, oh, I can do this, so I'm going to do it.
Sure.
Well, you shouldn't do that.
That's fine, and maybe that's true, but I still think that the raid is over the top.
Well,
I don't think it's going to achieve what they think it's going to achieve. And
I think it's going to. And
the affidavit is such that it's.
But
could be another nothing burger.
But the filing last night by the FBI, makes you think, well, okay. I mean, because they actively, the lawyers said we did an exhaustive search, and we didn't come up with anything. And then in the raid, they came up with a lot of things that were not supposed to be in.
Yeah, the letter that Trump's attorney signed back in, I believe, June, and said that yes, everything that was subpoenaed has been accounted for, and you should have it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be...
That's a problem with the attorney for sure.
The messaging out of the Trump team has been all over the place. Well, he's contradicted himself.
And he's going through a bunch of lawyers right now.
Can't find good ones.
Trying to figure it out. But the Justice Department is going to have to decide if they really want to go through an indictment. Because what will happen is... It will send the country into a tizzy, and the effects of that could be beneficial for Donald Trump. Number one, may not be, depending on what the evidence is, but also because his supporters are so ardent that this is a witch hunt against him, and that at every turn. It could have some really dire consequences for the country, I think. Well, because we've never been down this path before.
Right. Putting my political hat on, I think that if they indict him before the election, that actually helps Republicans. Yeah. Because people who were Trump supporters in 2020, but not typically midterm voters, are going to get fired up.
Yeah.
And they're going to express that anger by getting out and voting for Republicans. So but I think I think Democrats feel completely the opposite. I think they think that an indictment, that this all helps them. Well, because it's keeping Trump in the headlines.
Yeah, I was watching a show last night, or listening to a show last night, because I don't watch anything anymore. I just listen to it as I'm driving or whatever else. And a Democratic strategist had actually the opposite opinion. So if this is all political, then why are we doing it? Because all we're doing is helping Trump and energizing his supporters. So the Justice Department must be doing this because it's something that.
So he's trying to make the argument that this is obviously bad because they wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
Yeah, that was the argument he was making.
Yeah,
but I think you make good points. I still believe that the Justice Department is going down a very precarious road, especially if a lot of folks would see an indictment coming down the path.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's frustrating that we have to have this discussion. This shouldn't be an issue. He should just have
turn over the documents.
Been presidential.
Yeah. Now, did he declassify them and all that stuff? I don't believe so. I think I think the argument, and I heard this the other day, and I think it's a credible one. First of all, he was making the argument that he was still president up until the time that he left. I think so much just got gathered up that was sitting around, got plopped into boxes, and then they've been trying to get them back for 18 months.
Yeah.
And his ego or his, whatever he thought he had command over in terms of those documents was what it was. Were they so important that national security was being threatened? No, I don't think so. They wouldn't have taken 18 months to go down this road.
Probably. Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. I think it's probably not as
I don't think it's as precarious as everybody thinks it. I think it's his ego and him trying to make a point. Was he going to blackmail a political opponent, or was he going to, do something for the Russians? No. He was careless and clumsy.
Yeah.
Just like he was during his presidency, careless and clumsy.
Right.
Now, what I do believe that nobody's talking about, that the order to raid Mar-a-Lago did not come from Merrick Garland. It came from the president. And the president, this idea that the president knew nothing about it is a total, complete lie.
Bullshit.
It's a total and complete lie. Of course it came from the president. Merrick Garland was not going to take the fall for something like that.
He wasn't going to do that without the president knowing.
Absolutely not. The president had to have his back and everybody around him.
Now, caveat. Maybe the president forgot.
Well, if you look at his speech, yesterday in Pennsylvania, you're probably right about that.
He may actually not.
It's all about the folks. It's all about the folks.
I mean, he did reduce crime in Wilmington by helping a woman out in her apartment.
Did you listen to that?
I did.
It was painful. And that's why none of this makes any sense. It just seems like comedy hour.
At this point, if every Democrat in the country on November 9th, the day after the midterm, doesn't say we got to have somebody else, they're all crazy. There's no way this guy can run for re-election.
Well, and that goes back to the argument that, we need to keep Trump in the limelight, because if our guy is in the limelight, we get speeches like that in Pennsylvania where he doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's making things up extemporaneously about something that might have happened.
Well, no,
maybe,
the guy is a congenital liar. He has been for 40 years.
And
he's proven. It didn't change when he lost his mind. He just lied about things he didn't know.
I'm so glad you just clarified that, because I was trying to be nice, but whatever.
Look, my dad has Alzheimer's. His lying got progressively worse as he drifted off into wherever he is now.
Yeah.
And
that's hard. That's hard to watch.
Well, it's terrible.
And this is hard to watch.
Don't wish it on anybody, but for God's sake, the nation is watching this guy in decline.
And our enemies are watching this guy.
Right.
And that's the scary part, what I always turn to, is our enemies are watching this and they're laughing, and even our allies are laughing.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. It's not good for the country. And I think both parties, leaders of both parties, need to come together and figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
after November 9th. And he's not running for re-election. Anybody who says that he is just lying out of their teeth. So what do they do?
I don't know. Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're
going to have to give him the mark, and
I don't know. I mean, because this could be problematic. I mean, I in the course of one conversation with my dad, I remember this was a few years ago, and then this is when I knew that, oh wow, something is wrong, because literally told me the same story back to back like 6 times, but there were changes in the story. It was about going to Dallas to visit the grassy knoll.
Oh my.
After the JFK assassination. So the first story was your mom and I went to Dallas, we blah blah blah. Second time, 1 minute later, as soon as he finished it, he started again. Your mom and I went to Dallas. The day after, we were there the day after Kennedy was shot. We went and looked at the grassy knoll.
Oh, wow.
By the 4th or 5th time he told the story, he was on the grassy knoll when Kennedy got shot. He was convinced in his mind.
He was walking up the book depository.
Next thing I know, he's pulling the trigger. I don't know. Maybe he was the second shooter.
Oh, my goodness. That's, well,
the great thing, but what makes it classic is that he and my mom were not together in 63.
Yeah, that's, well, I mean, I'm glad you can laugh about it, but the rest of the country can't be laughing about President Biden and his slow decline into mental oblivion, which is on show for everyone to hear or to watch, and so of course the Democrats want to pivot. They want to pivot everything to Trump and the MAGA Republicans and the semi-socialist, semi-fascists, and all these different terms that they're throwing out there, which is just not helpful either.
No, whole thing's a mess. But I don't know.
It's a mess.
We'll continue to cover the mess.
It's a messy world.
Messy world.
And thankfully, we're not a mess.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoy your holiday weekend.
Enjoy the Labor Day weekend.
Have a good Labor Day.
Love your families, and God bless.
We'll be back next week. See ya.